Release the Kraken!
Hello fellow game designers, and welcome back to another tutorial. I am your host, Ron, with Lame Duck Studios, and here we are making our very simple spaceship plane thing. In our last tutorial we set up the environment that we're going to be working in. If you haven't done this yet, go to the last one and do that, or if you already know how to set these up, go ahead and set up your image planes. I'm going to come up to polymodeling, or polygons, depending on which version you're in. And it's important to create stuff from the simplest shape possible. So in this case, most of my plane is just a cube. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a cube, drop that in. And I'm going to go to a top view because it's going to be the easiest to work from. So top view. Zoom out a little bit. I'm going to press 6 on the keyboard to bring up the color. And now I'm going to shape this to approximate the size of the object. So hit R to scale it. I'm going to grab the middle box and just kind of scale this out. And then I'm going to scale this to about yay big. And you can see that my box is actually covering my image, which is not always the best to work with. So I'm going to right click on my box. I'm going to come down to Material Attributes. If it doesn't open the first time, just try that again. And then under Transparency, I'm just going to drag the transparency up a bit. So now I can see through my box. You don't want to go all the way transparent because if you click off, you'll lose it. So just make sure that you can still kind of somewhat see it. And that's going to be good enough. I do want to adjust my image plane though. You can see how my image plane is not perfectly center. So I'm just going to uncheck my reference here. I'm just going to move this over visually. Just going to nudge it. Good enough. It's important that your image planes line up, otherwise it's going to drive you crazy. Then I will move this into position here. And now it's a matter of shaping this to fit the current shape that's here. So from this position, let me go to my other view. So this is my side view. Press 6. Let's move this into position. And you can see on the side view, this is too big. So I'll go to my scale, and I'll just go ahead and scale this down to where it's about the right size. Okay. And now it's a matter of fine-tune the shape. So whenever you make a change on one side, you do want to go check the other. I'm going to come up to Mesh Tools. I'm going to go down to Insert Edgeloop. And I'm going to insert an edge loop at the next major change. So we have the tip of the or the nozzle here. If I come all the way down, this is going to be the next major change. I can't change this without affecting the rest of the ship. So this has to be straight from this edge to this edge, right? So I need to put a cut here. So if I put a cut, so now I have a new piece to work with. So I go to Vertex Mode. And I'm going to drag a selection box over these vertices here. Now there's 4 vertices that I'm grabbing, you see that? So I'm not just clicking because I'm only going to grab one. I want to make sure I grab all the way through. And in the top view, I'm going to scale these in. Just like that. Scale them in. I will move them up just a bit. Then I'll scale them in some more. Okay, I'm going to go to my side view, and instead of doing a scale this time, you can see this bottom edge is flat, right? The nose kind of curves, and then this edge comes down. So I'm going to grab these vertices here on the top, and just drag those down. I'm not going to worry about the curve just yet. I'll come back for that later, but I'm trying to get the rough shape right now. And then this... You can see this actually doesn't line up as nicely. Right, so that comes in half the window, and there's going to be an edge here for the rest of the window. So I'm going to grab my Insert Edgeloop tool, so Mesh Tools, Insert Edgeloop, and this is going to go here. That way I can make this loop for the glass. So I'll come in. I'll get rid of my tool by pressing Q, or you can grab the little pointer. Vertex Mode. grab this vertex, and now I will adjust here. So the window starts about there, and I'll align this accordingly. And these don't have to be perfectly straight, it's okay, just so long as it's fitting the reference. For this edge, I'm going to grab that Edgeloop tool again. I'm going to add a loop right about here. And then I'll grab that vertex, bring that up. So now I have the curvature. And if I go into my perspective view here, you can see I'm getting the curvature of the plane. It's kind of cool. Let's do the next shape, shall we? I'm going to go in to my top view. Hi, kitten. So the next area to make would be the wings, right? So to get the wings, I need to add some edge loops to accommodate the fact that the wings are there. And so to do that, I'll grab my edge loop tool again. I'm going to add a loop at this wing. And you can see this came in skewed. It came in skewed because I curved this edge here, and it's trying to follow the curvature of that edge. I don't want that. I want this to be as straight as I can. So I'm going to hit Q, bring up the scale tool, so that's R. I'm going to drag this blue scale line all the way to the right until it's flat. There we go. Grab my edge loop tool again. Add the loop there. I'm going to come into my side view, and you can see that this group here actually comes off of this face. Now there are a few ways you can do this. You could create an edge loop all the way through the plane, but we really don't need to do that. I'm actually going to create this using the Extrude tool. So I'm going to go ahead, go into a perspective view, go into face mode, so right click, face mode. I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to hold shift and select this face. And what I'm going to do is make an area for that shape. So go up to the top here, and this is a little tower. This says extrude. You can also get to extrude by going to edit mesh and then extrude. So either one works. When you extrude, it's going to give you this little widget. So I'm going to go into my side view. I'm going to move this little tab out of the way. I'm going to very gently click on this little box. So you have arrows and boxes. So I'll click on the box, doesn't matter which one. It'll give me this little box in the middle. So I'll grab the box in the middle now, and I will drag in. And you can see I'm creating a little area for this box to exist. And now I'm going to drag this box down to about the size and thickness of the wing. Okay? And all I want to do is move this into position. So I'm going to press W to bring up my move tool. I'm going to move this down to where the bottom edge starts with the wing there. And then over here, you can see the wing actually starts out here. And this wing starts out there. Or this edge starts out there. So I'm going to move this back and grab this edge loop. So edge. And I'll grab this edge. I'm going to use a selection box and grab all the way through. That way I get both edges. See that? I'm going to move this back some. Then I'm going to do the same thing to this one. So I'm going to grab this edge all the way through. Move that back. Grab this edge all the way through. I'll move this forward. Grab that one, move it over. Okay. So those are lined up right where the wing is going to come out. See that? I'm going to go back into face mode. I'm going to grab these faces. So if you don't have them selected, go ahead and select them. So that one and this one. Hit extrude. I'm going to grab the blue arrow. So get the blue arrow, pull that out. I'm going to go to the top view so I can see where that's going. hit W, and then I will move the arrow, move this up like that. Now I do have these on both sides, so you can either do this in Symmetry Mode or you can do it one at a time. I'm going to turn Symmetry Mode on, so I'm going to click off. I'm going to come up to the top here and turn Symmetry Mode on, so Object X. If you don't have this option up here, we can do it in the Tool Settings. So go to Tool Settings, it's a little hammer. Open up the little hammer there. Come over to the left, come down to Symmetry Settings, and then Symmetry, Object X. I'll close the Tool Settings. And now I will select, you can see whatever I select on that side selects on this side. So I'll grab Vertex Mode. I'll grab this group of vertices here. And I'll move them right about where the wing is. I'll grab this group of vertices here. I'll move those to where that wing is. And these I'll just kind of nudge back a little bit to adjust the wing. So there's the wing out. But you can see from our picture that our wing actually comes up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the face of this wing. So face mode. I'm going to grab the face. And you can see we have symmetry on, so it grabs both. And for this face, I'm going to move it up into position of the picture. So now we have that forward swept wing, and it has that angle. Cool. So object mode. So we have most of the plane done. All I need now is my little jet engine. Okay. For this, I'm actually going to use a cylinder. So let's go up to our polygons. I'm going to drop in a cylinder. I'm going to drag this into position, go into a top view. You can see from our picture, the cylinder has to be on its side. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees in the X. So now it's on its side. I'm going to zoom in here. Under polycylinder, radius, I'm going to drag it out to match the radius. And then however many cuts I need. So for subdivisions, my subdivision axis, I'm going to make it kind of simple, so I'm going to drag those down. So if you don't know how I'm scaling with this, I'm just clicking the middle mouse. That's the mouse wheel I'm pushing in, and then dragging. And I'm going to drag that down. I'll keep it simple, right around 8 subdivisions. You can kind of see that there. There's my 8 subs. Okay. I'm going to make it tall enough, so grab my height, middle mouse click and drag. It's good enough. Alright, so vertex mode. I'll grab these vertices. And for this object, I'm going to turn symmetry mode off because it's going to be kind of annoying. So let's go up to Tool Settings, Symmetry, Off. And of course in 2018 you can do that right here. And grab that. I'm going to hold down the V key. I'm going to drag the arrow. You can see when I press V, it changes to a circle. Drag the arrow, and I'm going to hover my mouse, get it close to this vertex, and as I do, it's going to snap this to the edge of the plane. So I have that. I'm going to grab my Edgeloop tool. So go up to Mesh Tools, Insert Edgeloop. I'm going to click in the middle here. And then I'm going to grab this loop. So I'm going to hit a little pointer, go into Vertex Mode. I'm going to grab the vertices here. Then I'm going to scale that. So I'm going to grab the middle scale, just drag that in. Make sure on the cylinder, because you want it to be even, don't drag the edges, drag the middle. Okay? And you can see that right there. Now let's move this into the correct position. So Object Mode, I'll go into my side view. Move tool. I'll move this up into position. Okay. So there is my ship. just about ready to go. I'm going to do a little bit of fancy work to the back of this. I'm going to pull this cylinder off, and just to save on geometry, I don't really want anything that we're not going to see. So this part of the cylinder that's going to be touching this part of the plane, we're never going to see this. So there's no reason to have the computer draw these faces, so I'm going to delete them. So I'm going to right click, go into face mode, and I'm going to select just the faces on the back of the cylinder. So just these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just those. I'm going to press delete. So now I have an open cylinder. Now some game engines don't let you have open geometry. Unreal doesn't really care, so that's fine. I'm going to move this back to my object, so W, and to make it easier to snap it, I'm going to press the D key. That's going to change my widget. I'm going to hold down V. I'm going to drag the blue arrow to the edge. Press D again. That puts it back to normal. And then I'm going to hold the V one more time and drag the blue arrow, and it's going to snap to the ship there. Alright, so those are all nice in position. So now I'm going to make this look a little bit more like a jet engine. We're not going to see too much of this from behind, but I am going to pull this in just a tad. So let's go ahead and select these faces. So face, I'm going to grab these ones. Hold shift and go ahead and select them. It's just these faces here. You don't want any ones on the edge. I'm going to press extrude. Hit the little blue box here. Grab the middle blue box, scale it in. Like that. I'm going to grab the blue arrow and pull that in just a tad. And now I'm going to grab the vertex in the middle. So Vertex Mode. Grab the vertice or the vertex in the middle. Bring up your move tool and just drag it in. So now we have that engine. Okay. So the last thing I'll do for this in this particular video is combine these two pieces. So let's go ahead and go to object mode. I'm going to grab both that and the plane. And then I'm going to come up to combine. So up here on your polygons, you can see this little two planes inside of a white circle. That is combine. And then Maya is going to treat this object as if it's one object. Okay, it's another way of gluing things together. So depending on your program, that also counts as gluing. So here we go. We have our plane ready to go. For the window, we're actually going to do the window detailing in Photoshop. So we're not going to carve that in. We're going to keep it as simple as we can. And from here, let's go ahead and save it, and I will pick it up in the next video.